program is brought to you in association with First National Bank of Botswana. Just like clockwork, the year is coming to an end again. And while most people are excited about traveling to see family and spending time with friends after working hard throughout the year, scammers and fraudsters, on the other hand, are readying to get on the prowl.
You know, there have been a number of cases that were coming into the police stations by various methods. And this is a national concern where people were being swindled in a substantial amount of money. And here in South Central, a number of people were swindled and in various forms. One of the most prevalent was where people were being told that I'm selling maybe plots, and they were swindled their monies. Now there's a trend that has come whereby people whom we do not know as to who they are, they will just make telephone calls and tell innocent citizens that they have won a certain amount of money, and people will give out the details of bank accounts and everything. And at the end of the day, they'll find that a substantial amount of money has been withdrawn from their accounts. And there's another kind of fraud, again, where people will claim that they are selling or they want to buy you maybe a car and to give out money. And at the end of the day, you'll never receive that car until such time that maybe you come to the police station and report a number of cases. But a total number of about 193 cases from January up to today have been received in South Central Division in all the stations from Gauteng, Modisane and Gaborone.
It may seem like we're beginning to sound like broken records here on First Issues, discussing this topic almost every year. But worth noting is that businesses and individuals alike lose about $5 trillion every year to financial scams. This according to findings from the Financial Cost of Fraud report of 2019. And after 4 years, it is safe to presume that this figure could be significantly high. With new technologies, innovations, and access to the interweb, scammers and fraudsters are becoming increasingly smart and cunning in how they trick unsuspecting victims. This may be at work, at the ATM, online when shopping, or being tricked into a dubious investment opportunity. Just this year, some Botswana were scammed out of monies believed to be in the sums of millions of pula through what was supposed to be an investment opportunity. The alleged perpetrators promised unsuspecting investors high returns on their buy-in, pushing people to take out loans. Others emptied out their savings accounts, with some cashing out of their businesses. It was not too long before the entire scheme crashed, and those who invested wailed in shock. Some people are supposed to have fallen ill. Others' relationships are believed to have ended as a result, while some are alleged to have even lost their lives. What have the police done about these and other similar cases of fraud, according to Divisional Commander, South Central, Senior Assistant Commissioner Boni Bareki?
We are very close to the community. Our community policing strategies, where we meet members of the public, maybe on a weekly basis or monthly basis, we inform them of the trends that are occurring. And sometimes there are those that will take those advices and stay away. But it appears a number of us, even though you haven't been told, and whenever somebody comes and tells you about the money, the only thing that comes to your mind is that by tomorrow I will be rich.
As a word to the wise in light of this example, and of course more like it, our conversation tonight with Kagiso Patrick, fraud manager at one of the local commercial banks, aims to help you understand this realm of illegal activity and how you can protect yourself. Kagiso, thank you so much for coming on First Issues and affording us your time. We're back with you again to talk about scams and fraud. Basically, the overarching discussion is that scammers and fraudsters are now ramping up their efforts to scam people out of their hard-earned cash, especially now at this time of the year. Why do you think this is? Why do you think that these kinds of illegal activities usually spike during the festive season?
As you have correctly pointed out, this is a season where mostly we see crime activity spiking, but maybe to point it out as a way of correction, things have changed now. Previously you would have criminal activities surging towards the holiday season, but now we see this happening throughout the year. So we see people being scammed of their cash through various means and ways which criminals use to target unsuspecting people.
While the focus really is usually on individuals, right? But with our limited research, we found that it is usually SMEs or SME owners who are more susceptible to being scammed, especially online. Why is that something that is happening?
Yeah, well, it's true that it cuts across. The impact is really felt everywhere. No one is spared when it comes to fraudulent activities. But as to your point that SMEs maybe are also impacted in this, I think SMEs deal a lot with cash, and this is cash that usually attracts these criminals. And there are various ways in which they would want to penetrate this SME environment or security fabric in order to gain access to that cash. So as we go along now, I'll go on and explain which methods they usually use to make sure that they penetrate and overcome that security fabric.
So at this point, I'd like for you to go into the ways or the various ways in which these criminals breach these security fabrics, as you've just alluded to.
There are various methods and techniques used by criminals to try and social engineer and gain access to people's information or personal information. One, as I've said, is phishing, which includes attacking a victim's email and taking it over and sending fraudulent instructions. For example, in a case where a supplier is dealing with a buyer, then they'll intercept that communication and issue out fraudulent instructions, usually about changing in banking details. And the buyer will then send money into a bank account belonging to a fraudster. Yeah, some of the techniques that they use, be phishing, where they use voice note to call the victims and social engineer them in different ways so that they give out their personal information. Also, they also use what you call smishing, which is sending out SMSs about various things wherein they'll guide victims through certain steps, which eventually lead into them compromising their personal information.
At the beginning of our conversation, you spoke about social engineering, where fraudsters or scammers, they do these things to gain people's trust, ultimately to get that personal information. So then, how do people protect their personal information so that they don't fall victim to such?
Yeah, that's correct. The whole intent and purpose of social engineering is to gain access to personal information, which is a very valuable, currency to the fraudsters. And usually it happens, through this, social engineering techniques. They usually want to get the first thing that they want to get is the victim's trust before they go for that information. And what that basically means is that the the safety guard goes down once you start trusting, and that is when now they go for that valuable asset, which is personal information. So at the bare minimum, people should be very cautious of what they share and who they share that information with. They must be discreet at all times, from a personal view. They must also make sure that whatever information they have, more especially documentary evidence, the way they dispose of that information, it must be in a very discreet way. They must render it unusable before they dispose of it. That is your bank statements or whatever document that may have that information. And that is what I want to emphasize, to make sure that the manner in which they store this information, the manner in which they process their information, and the manner in which they share or transmit that information must be done with care, so that it doesn't get compromised. When they interact with people, they must make sure that they know who they are interacting with, so that they know for certain that the people that they share their personal information with are the people that are really supposed to be having access to that information. From a systems point of view, because we are talking obviously about phishing, and is to actually make sure that you have your antiviruses up to date. Make sure that you regularly change your password and access. You don't share your PIN codes, your password or usernames with anyone, including the people close to you. It could be your spouse, it could be your children, it could be your relatives. Because the moment you do that, then you are opening up yourself for attack.
The police have cautioned the public to be vigilant at all times and be wary of some proposals, because if it seems too good to be true, then chances are it is.
As we always say, is that people should take care of whatever that they have for themselves. There isn't anything that you will benefit from having not worked for. When you haven't entered into any competition and somebody is telling you have won, the first thing that you should remember is that I have never entered into a competition. So how can I win anything? And start to say, I'm very grateful for whatever that you wanted to give to me. Please keep it for yourself. And the moment you say keep it for yourself, you'll keep safe. You'll be safe.